the foundation of every property management relationship. Every successful property management relationship begins with one critical document, the Property Management Employment Agreement, PMEA. This is not just a formality. It is a legally binding contract that defines expectations, authority, compensation, and accountability between the property owner and the property management firm. In Arizona, this agreement is heavily regulated under ARS, paragraph 32-2173, which requires that all property management agreements be written in clear, unambiguous language and include specific required elements. Think of the PMEA as the operating manual for the entire relationship. If it is written well, it prevents confusion, disputes, and liability. If it is vague or incomplete, it becomes the starting point for problems. Why the PMEA matters more than you think. Many brokers underestimate the importance of this agreement, treating it like just another document to get signed. In reality, this is the document ADRI will look at first during an audit or complaint. If a dispute arises between an owner and a property manager, the PMEA becomes the primary evidence of what was agreed to. For example, if a property manager in Gilbert authorizes a $1,500 repair without owner approval, the first question will be, what does the PMEA say about repair limits and authority? If it is not clearly defined, the broker may be exposed to liability. Identification of parties and property. The agreement must clearly identify all parties involved, including the property owner and the property management firm. It must also include a clear description of the property being managed. This seems basic, but errors here can create confusion, especially when managing multiple properties or working with ownership entities like LLCs. For example, managing a property owned by ABC Investments LLC requires confirming who has authority to sign and make decisions on behalf of that entity. Clarity at the beginning prevents disputes later. Scope of services. Defining what you actually do. One of the most important sections of the PMEA is the scope of services. This outlines exactly what the property manager will and will not do. This may include leasing, tenant screening, rent collection, maintenance coordination, accounting, and eviction processing. For example, if eviction services are not included in the agreement but the owner assumes they are, this can lead to disputes during a difficult situation. A well-written PMEA eliminates assumptions and replaces them with clear expectations. Management authority, where brokers create risk. The PMEA must clearly define the authority given to the property manager. This includes what decisions can be made without owner approval and what actions require consent. For example, many agreements include a repair limit, such as $500 or $1,000, where the property manager can act without prior approval. If this is not clearly defined, the property manager may either delay necessary repairs or act beyond their authority, both of which create risk. Under ARS, paragraph 32-2173, all duties and responsibilities must be clearly stated. Authority without clarity leads to liability. Compensation and fees, transparency is critical. The PMEA must clearly outline how the property manager is compensated. This includes monthly management fees, leasing fees, renewal fees, and any additional charges. Arizona law requires that compensation terms be clearly disclosed and agreed upon. For example, if a broker charges a leasing fee but fails to clearly disclose it in the agreement, this can result in disputes and potential violations under ARS, paragraph 32-2153. Transparency in compensation is not optional, it is required. Financial management and trust account handling. The agreement must explain how funds will be handled, including rent collection, security deposits, and operating reserves. Under ARS, paragraph 32-2173, the PMEA must specify how money is collected, held, and distributed, including the handling of trust account funds. For example, the agreement should clearly state how often owners receive financial reports and how reserve funds are maintained for repairs or emergencies. This section connects directly to trust account compliance and ADRI audit requirements. Insurance and risk allocation. The PMEA often includes provisions related to insurance and indemnification. This outlines what types of insurance must be maintained and how liability is allocated between the owner and the property manager. For example, if a tenant is injured on the property, general liability insurance may apply, but the PMEA will often determine how responsibility is shared. This is where strong agreements help protect both parties. Maintenance and repairs, setting expectations in advance. Maintenance responsibilities must be clearly defined, including how repairs are handled and what approval thresholds exist. For example, if a property manager in Phoenix handles an emergency plumbing issue at midnight, the PMEA should already define whether they have the authority to act immediately. Without this clarity, even the right decision can become a dispute. Legal compliance, non-negotiable requirements. The PMEA must include a requirement that all activities comply with federal, state, and local laws, including fair housing laws and the Arizona Landlord-Tenant Act. This ensures that both the property manager and the owner understand that legal compliance is mandatory. For example, an owner cannot require discriminatory tenant screening practices, and the PMEA helps establish that the broker will follow the law regardless of owner instructions. Termination and final accounting, where most disputes happen. Termination provisions are one of the most important and most overlooked sections of the PMEA. Under ARS, paragraph 32-2173, the agreement must include cancellation terms and outline what happens when the agreement ends. This includes final accounting requirements. Within 5 days, a list of tenant security obligations. Within 35 days, return of remaining funds, with exceptions for outstanding obligations. Within 75 days, final accounting and reconciliation. For example, if a property owner in Scottsdale terminates a management agreement, the broker must follow these timelines precisely. Failure to do so can lead to complaints, audits, and disciplinary action. Record keeping. Your protection in an audit Arizona law requires property managers to maintain records for a minimum of 5 years. This includes leases, financial records, communication logs, and maintenance documentation. If ADRI conducts an audit, these records must be readily available and organized. The PMEA should clearly outline record-keeping responsibilities to ensure compliance. Signatures and validity, making it enforceable. For the PMEA to be valid, it must be signed by both the property owner and the designated broker or authorized licensee. Without proper signatures, the agreement may not be enforceable under Arizona law. This is a simple step, but one that is often overlooked and can create major issues. How this section connects forward. This section brings together everything we have learned so far: definitions, ADRI oversight, landlord-tenant law, and broker authority, all into one document. The PMEA is where compliance becomes contractual. As we move forward, we will take this one step further by diving into trust accounts, accounting systems, and financial controls, where the financial side of this agreement is executed and audited. Online discussion. Why is the Property Management Employment Agreement considered the most important document in property management? Answer: because it defines the roles, responsibilities, authority, and compensation of the property manager and serves as the primary reference in disputes and audits. What is the biggest risk when a PMEA lacks clear authority limits? Answer: the property manager may either exceed their authority or fail to act when necessary, both of which can create liability and disputes. Why are termination procedures critical in a PMEA? Answer: because most disputes occur at the end of the relationship, and clear procedures ensure proper handling of funds, records, and responsibilities.